Baha'i Focus is a local production of the Carbondale Baha'i community. This is a TV show that we actually do here in Carbondale. And today we're pleased to have with us Dempsey Crim. Dempsey's a friend of mine. He's almost like a brother. I've known him ever since, I think, I met you the first weekend I moved down here to Southern Illinois about exactly 10 years ago.
It's been that long?
10 years ago, yeah. Dempsey's a Baha'i, and he's from a long line of Baha'is. We interviewed his mother earlier. Just about everybody in your family is a Baha'i now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's been like a Baha'i chain reaction go through your family.
Well, we found what we thought was the truth, and we jumped on it. Okay?
Yeah. You were the first one in your family to become a Baha'i?
True, yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I went to Carbondale. I was working at the chemical plant in Metropolis, and it closed down, so I said, I'm going to school to do what I want to do. And I was going to school at SIU. I ran up on some Iranians, and they had this weird thing called Baha'i faith. And so I tried to bring it back to Christianity for about.
You were living in was it the Baptist Student Center at the time?
No, it was a Northeast Carbondale. It was a predominantly black community, you know.
Okay.
And we had this. First of all, we had this white student moved in our black, so we say, dormitories. He was a Baha'i, and so we gave him a lot of hassle for a while. They had me going to meetings, and I met some of the Iranian Baha'is there. And so after a few years, I didn't just jump in real quick.
It took years.
Yeah, it's an independent investigation of the truth. It took me, I guess, about 4 years before I actually decided that it was the truth. And from there, the rest is history. Yeah.
Your mother was saying that you were an elder in the church.
Yeah, I was a deacon in the church. Now,
a deacon.
I preached one sermon. And as I was preaching the sermon, I felt like, hey, I shouldn't be up here. I mean, I'm not called. I'm not called. So I finished the sermon, and I hope I didn't, cheat the people. I did the best I could, so I wasn't going back anymore. So I didn't. Yeah.
So I think you and your mother was saying that you're from a Baptist background.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah, Baptist now, forever. Yes, yeah. I love it. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Do you think there was any conflict there between the Baptists and the Baha'i beliefs?
Well, not really, because, they believe in the one God. The Baha'is believe in the one God. So the essence of the religion is one and the same. I mean, it can't be any conflict because, the sun is shining, the same sun is shining on Baha'is as well as Baptists. It can't be any conflict. What
were some of the things that appealed to you as you were beginning to investigate the Baha'i faith?
The thing that appealed to me the most about the Baha'i faith was that they practice what they preach. I mean, I'm being black, and being used to a lot of prejudice from different people. Growing up in the Baha'i faith, there was no prejudice. For once, in this society in America, I was able to enter into a group, a religion, whatever you want to call it, that was free of prejudice. Absolutely free. You hear what I'm saying? You can't understand because you're black, you don't know the subtleties that you go through, But in the Baha'i faith, hey, it was just like
it's gone.
It's gone. And it works. There's no need for it. Right. There's no need for it. Yeah.
That's one of the things that really impressed me when I became a Baha'i in Chicago. Chicago is an extremely racist place. There are certain territories that if you walk across the street, somebody might kill you for just walking across the street. And when I became a Baha'i, all of a sudden, it was just gone. It was just like a great weight lifted off of you. And for a while there, I thought that all of a sudden racism had just totally vanished from the earth. And it took me a while to realize that that was only true among Baha'is. It was only true among this group. So that really is true.
You can go anywhere in the world. If he's a Baha'i, you don't have to worry about that. I don't care where you go. If he's a Baha'i, I don't care where he's from. Hey, you got a friend, guaranteed, guaranteed. And so it has to be something to a religion that that brings about that type of change. We talk about another religion, but hey, here it is, man. Here's reality.
Right.
The reality is truth.
The Baha'i writings say that it is the difference between people that makes things beautiful. It's the diversity that makes it beautiful. And the analogy that is used so often is different notes of music. They're different notes, but when they come together, they make a beautiful chord. Sure. Something that is totally different than what you had before. Okay. Each note is distinct, and each note is individual. They don't change that. But when they come together, it becomes something totally different. It's something really beautiful.
Flowers of the garden, right? You got different flowers. You got some that lives in water, some in the trees, some in the sandy spots. Hey, but they're all flowers and all beautiful. Okay, yeah. And you know, another thing, Joe, you know, opposites attract. You know, okay, white color, black color. Hey, put them together. You got something. You got something. If you can put aside those preconceived prejudices, that's all they are.
I think that really is the key to the Baha'i faith. That is the one principle around which everything else revolves, is the oneness of humanity and the oneness of mankind. And it's not just black and white, it's all races. It's Indians, it's Orientals, it's everybody. And that is the attitude that, the Baha'i attitude is that when you encounter someone of a different race or someone of a different nationality, don't hold back from them. Try to go a little bit extra for them, because a lot of times these groups have been put off by themselves. You have the whites by themselves and the blacks by themselves, and each group is kind of off by itself. So it takes a little extra effort to get over that barrier and find out that once you do get over it, it's worthwhile.
His Holiness Christ said, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The Baha'i says, thou shalt love thy neighbor more than I love thyself.
Right. Okay. So, what is it? What do you think was is there any other things that appealed to you when you were investigating the faith?
I guess everything about the Baha'i faith appealed because, for once, it's a religion that I can, it qualifies as far as my sense is concerned. It's, you know, it seems reasonable, you know. I mean, I tend to like, you know, quote, magic, you know, but hey, and here there's practical things. There's laws, applicable laws that anybody can make work that, you know, that they'll, you know, apply, okay. And I guess I like that they just, I mean, it freed me. I mean, instead of a religion, you know, shackling me down, chain me down, well, it's just like it opened the cage and let bird could fly. I had more freedom. Instead of getting less, I got more. Okay.
Right. I think a lot of groups, they try to keep you confined. They try to say, don't look at that, don't look at this. This is the way to believe it, you know, don't even look at that. The Baha'i faith is really just the opposite. It says, truth is there, go find it. No matter where it is, go find it. Investigate everything. What you have might be just part of the truth. You know, if you can find it someplace else, you can find a deeper, a better understanding of it, go for it.
And another thing, I had one of my girlfriends, she was extremely intelligent, you know, okay? But she found out in the religion I was in before this, in the Christian faith, well, they downplay where men were superior, you know, to women, okay? Baha'i faith, they say, you know, man and woman equal, you know, okay? Right. So in this, she was able to realize, you know, potential where in another religion, it was stifled, okay? It was stifled because her sex had to be wrong. It's right here, the Baha'i faith. Hey, it keyed in on her, the quality, the good quality she had. Right. It actually developed more and more and more. It was no problem. It
kind of goes back to the idea of the diversity again. Women have different qualities than men, and women are not the same as men. But when it all comes together, it's perfect.
Put them together, you got the one. You got the oneness of man.
Okay, so you investigated the Baha'i faith. You were a Baptist elder, a deacon, and you decided to become a Baha'i, and you went home to Mama. And what did Mama have to say about this?
Oh, she threw a tantrum. She said, "Oh my God, what have you done? You know, what have you done? You know, after all I've done for you, I raised you up to be a loving son, and, you know, to love God and mankind, and etc. You come on some sect, you know. She called it a sect, you know. So yeah, you know, get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's going to take you down a degradation, you know, a basement, okay." And I said, no, I really didn't argue. I just left A Thief in the Night. That's a Baha'i book, A Thief in the Night. I left it around, and I think about 6 or 7 years later, she picked it up. She read it and said, hey, this is not so bad. This is not so bad. In fact, hey, she read more, hey, this is good. And read more, hey, this is what I'm looking for. So that was her introduction. Okay. But like I said, now we're talking about a period of years now. These things didn't happen overnight.
One of the primary, one of the Baha'i teachings is the idea of independent investigation of truth, the idea where I can't make you search, I really shouldn't even try to force it on you, and apparently that's what you did with your mother.
Yeah, but it's kind of difficult because with somebody else you can tell them, you know, but Mom, you got to walk a kind of fine line because she's still a mom, you know, when it's all said and done, and you know, and
Mama is the boss. Mom, in your family, I know your mama. Mama is the boss.
For sure, and most, you know, the moms are hey, that's the guide in life. That's the closest thing we have to God on earth, I think, the mothers. Okay.
Yeah.
No said.
She's a special lady.
Yeah. But like, you know, it's been a wonderful bit of high because I've been exposed to many different friends I wouldn't have had an opportunity to meet, you know. I mean, all from all over the world, right? All over the world. Not just here in America, but
let's talk about all over the world. You've been out of the country. Where you took a trip a while back?
I went on pilgrimage over to the Holy Land, over to Haifa, Israel, and got a chance to see the shrines.
Let me fix this a little bit better. I apologize, people, hold for that. It's getting in the way.
They went on the Holy Land, saw the shrines, and really enjoyed myself. It was more of a spiritual trip than it was. You know, they say, "What did you see? This? You see that?" I said,
okay, so you're saying that you went to Israel, you went to the Baha'i World Center, you went to Mount Carmel, to Akka, and you went home.
Went back home. Yeah, went back home. I got to feel the presence. I got to be in the presence of God. On a spiritual level.
What do you mean by that? Being in the presence of God.
In the presence, there's a spirit, the most great spirit that pre-meets everything there is. Okay, that the center of that spirit I feel is in Haifa, Israel. Okay, and whenever you open yourself up completely, give detachment completely from everything that's the world here, then he allows himself to appear within you, and you can feel as you could never felt anything in your life, the spirit of the presence of God.
Right.
Truly. I went there with open mind. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to go ahead and be scientific, and so I can tell my friends if I did it, what happened, And I didn't try. I just was there, I said, hey, let's see what's going to happen. And I watched, and pretty soon, all of a sudden, you begin to feel like you begin to get, I don't know, it's like I was suffocated. I was wanting to, my body wasn't big enough to hold, it wasn't big enough to hold what was inside. I wanted the body wanted to bust and let the spirit come through. I mean, it was the presence of God. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. The most unique experience I've had. I guess being born would have been the same type thing, from when I come from a mother's womb, would probably been similar to that. Or dying would probably be similar to it. Okay. But that's all I can tell you, just the spirit of, just the presence of God.
Yeah. There is a very, very special presence there at the Baha'i shrines. And your mother was saying the same thing when she went into the shrine of Baha'u'llah. It was just such a powerful feeling that you could not even describe it. You just had to experience it yourself.
But it's a presence. Right. It's a presence. I don't know if instruments will ever be able to measure it. Well, you can't. How can you measure God?
Yeah.
It's not to be measured. I guess it'd be felt.
Yeah. So, what were some of your other experiences when you were in Israel?
Well, I got to meet the Israeli people. They were warm, wonderful people on the one hand, but on the other hand, they had to be aggressive. Okay, if they were allowed to be, I can see them being very warm and loving. But I can see, with the way Israel is situated and the problem they have, with the warlike problem they have, then they have to be aggressive. And I saw that too. I saw the two sides of the same people. Right. By force, they're very, very aggressive. I mean, more so. I mean, you stand in the line there, and if somebody will get in front of me, we push you out of the way. You don't ask you where you move, you just push you out of the way and go, okay? But on the other hand, I mean, when they have a chance to know you as a person, then they're very loving, very, very loving. Okay, it's like being around your brothers and sisters. Okay.
Did you have a chance to go into the archives when you were at the Baha'i Museum? Any things you could share with us about that?
Well, the thing I liked the most about that, I saw the picture of Baha'u'llah and the Bab. Okay, that's the first I want to see, the picture of Baha'u'llah. Okay, he said every eye should see him. Okay, there it was. Here he is. Okay, and then
I'd never thought of that. It says in the Bible that every eye shall see him, and there's a photograph. I never thought of it. I never made that association before.
Yeah, there he was. I kept telling myself, hey, this right here is a universal manifestation for this day and age. You know what, Joe? I can't picture in my mind right now what it looks like. I cannot, for the love of money, picture what it looked like. And I've tried to go back again in my mind. I can't. But I looked at it, I looked at it some more. So I'm going to memorize this so when I leave, I'll know forever what it looks like. I can't. Yeah. I can't. I'm very disappointed, I guess, the reason for that.
Really, though, when you get down to it, it doesn't really matter what he looked like, because it's his writings that... the
Spirit of God.
It's the spirit.
Okay. You're right there.
Although it is unique. It is the only time in history that a prophet of God has been photographed. And I understand it was like a passport photograph when he was being exiled and he was suffering some of these indignities. They needed to take a photograph of him so he could pass from place to place. And I understand that he was none too happy about being photographed, but
Okay, that's how that come about?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know. But I know.
So I understand that he has a fairly stern look on his face.
Yes, it was very much so, very much so. I didn't know what.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I can understand that.
He and his family and his friends were being exiled and herded around like a bunch of cattle, and just like, get up there. And he didn't like being treated like that.
Oh, okay. So that explains a lot of things.
It's one thing that your mother mentioned too, that when she was there, she noticed that some of the indications of some of the things that used to belong to Baha'u'llah indicated his sufferings, just how much the intense suffering that he had to endure. He saw his family, some of his children die. He saw his friends die. He was placed in the harshest confinement in one of the most degrading, disgusting prisons on the face of the earth, which was in Israel, in the city of Akka.
We went to the prison. It was very cold. It was very gloomy. It was very inhuman for a person to be. I can say that. I went up there and it's hard to imagine. You know, they would put the glory of glories in a place like that. Very hard to make because it's cold. It was. I mean, it was very uncomfortable to be. Very uncomfortable place to be.
If you read the story of Job and compare it to the life of Baha'u'llah, the life of Baha'u'llah is the story of Job. He was a very rich man. He was very powerful, and he was brought down to nothing. And he was made to suffer, and his family was made to suffer. And this is the story of the suffering Messiah from the 53rd chapter of Isaiah. That here's a man who was bruised, he was beaten, he was degraded. Isaiah says that he is thrown into prison, he is shut away from the world. And the reason that this happened is because it pleased God to test him and to prove him. And then it says, God says that he would greatly extend his years, that he would live to see his seed or live to see his children. And this is what happened to Baha'u'llah. He was shut away in prison, spent 40 years as a prisoner, and he was shut away in the dungeon. And it seemed like everyone around him was dying, and it seemed like he would die. And this is exactly what Isaiah pictures, that shut away in prison, and yet God brings him out of the prison and exalts him to the highest level in the history of... think of all the other people, the people that put Baha'u'llah in prison. Who knows about them now? You know, they have been brought down to absolute nothing, and yet the man who was sitting in the dirt and in the most horrible, unsanitary situations imaginable, being chained in the prison, has been raised to the highest level of admiration among millions of people on the earth. It's remarkable how it works. Any other thoughts about Israel?
Well, yes, I was going to say, Joel, in the gardens of Israel, out in the gardens, the Baha'i gardens, I guess they're the most beautiful gardens in the world, because you have people who take a tour of Israel. One of the stops that they have in the tour guide is the Baha'i Garden, the Baha'i Holy Land. I was surprised to see that, you know. I was surprised to see, and it's a tradition is that...
It is a showcase. It is
without a doubt, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Everybody tells me when they go to Israel, really what a barren country it is. It is so... there are places where you can't see a plant for any place. And it's just like a desert. And yet when you go to the mountain, when you go to Mount Carmel, all of a sudden there's this lush greenery, and it's really a miracle. It's almost like, once again from Isaiah, that the desert shall blossom as the rose.
True. When
the glory of God appears on Mount Carmel.
And it's a funny thing, when the Jewish people get ready to have a wedding or something like that, they come out to the Baha'i Garden and use it as a background for their weddings. Did you know that?
Right. I was talking with the rabbi in Carbondale recently, and he wanted to show me some of the photographs of the Baha'i gardens that he had, and he was looking for a nice big one that he could show me, and he was trying to think, and asked his wife, where are the big photographs? And she says, they're on the posters, of the travelogue posters for Israel, that when people come to Israel, they're shown the Baha'i gardens. It is incredible. You met the House of Justice when you were there.
Oh, yes. It's a magnificent structure and beautiful people in it, okay? I'll give it actually...
Give us a brief explanation of who the House of Justice are, who the people are.
I guess the best way to say it is those 9 men are the one who govern the Baha'i world. That's the seat of infallibility. That's the Baha'i faith as the pulpit to the Christians. That's the guiding light. That's God upon the face of earth in the hearts of men. Okay. And the structure they have, it's a magnificent structure, man.
This is the House of Justice, the Universal House of Justice is a body of people, though. It's a body of nine people. It's not one person.
My brother's saying that if we have visitors from outer space, well, since that is the house for the world, then that's where the visitor out of space would contact. Okay?
Take me to your leader.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't go everywhere. You'd go to the one spot. So the one spot would be the House of Justice.
Yeah.
Okay. For this universe here. Okay.
Well, the world hasn't quite caught up with it yet, but there'll come a time.
It will.
This is something that's been envisioned to last for at least 500,000 years. So I guess we can be a little bit more patient. Let's talk a little bit more about the Baha'i teachings. What are some of the other ones that you could mention?
Well, you say the independent investigation of truth. That's to me. That's a cornerstone for not only the Baha'i faith. I mean, it's a cornerstone for understanding. That's reality in a sense. Okay, independent investigation of truth, and of course our keystone, the ones of mankind. I mean, that's those two teachers right there. They kind of commonplace now, but when it was brought out 100-something years ago, it was a little bit far-fetched. And also you have the equality of men and women, universal education for all, and you have science, religion must agree, okay, and you have economics. You have a spiritual solution to the economic problems.
What does that mean?
That means, I guess in essence, there will be no extreme wealth, no extreme poverty. People of their own accord, the rich will give to the poor when the hearts have been changed when the time comes and man's heart has become soft and kind, understanding, then he won't want to have too much, or he won't. If he has a lot, he'll give to those who have less.
You will have situations where you have people starving on one part of the planet and people throwing away food on the other part, I suppose.
Well, and Abdul-Baha said, Abdul-Baha, the son of the prophet man, said, this is the first time that the prophet of God, a manifestation, has laid down specific rules to govern the economic situations, okay? So there's a pattern that Baha'is have laid down by the manifestation, a leader, okay?
And also the unique thing about the Baha'i faith is that his teachings are written down. There's no anybody trying to remember it 20 years ago. No, just what did he say 20 years after he says it? It's not an oral tradition. He either wrote it himself or he had a secretary write it down for him and he checked it
to make sure
that it was accurate. And we have these writings. They still exist. And in fact, they have been duplicated and they've been sent to every corner of the world. So no matter whatever happens, wherever, if there's a war or whatever, they will always remain intact.
Muhammad said you got me and my family, you got the book. And after me and my family, you have the book. And so, I guess in their religion, people, his whole is Christ, maybe it's here, there's a few people got to see him, but the word he has has been spread to the whole world, okay? So, we talking about religion, we talk about the word, we talk about God's thoughts been put into words. So in the Baha'i faith, we have over 100 volumes. That's the one thing I like about it, because
over 100 volumes of writing.
Right, you can't get. I mean, the more you want, the more you can get. It's just like he said, "I will build my thrones upon the waters." Waters mean knowledge. So in the Baha'i faith, you got as much knowledge as a man can absorb in a lifetime. Okay, in 3 lifetimes, for that's concerned.
That's for sure. You were saying that one of the things that really encouraged you to investigate deeper into the Baha'i teachings was the book Thief of the Night. Could you tell us a little bit about that book? What is it? What does it discuss?
Well, it's William Sears. I mean, it's William Sears.
By the way, there is a copy of the book Thief of the Night in the Carbondale Library if anybody wants to take a look at it.
Well, Joe, I'm not that familiar. I can say William Sears wrote a book. He wrote the proofs using the Christian Bible, and Baha'i faith put it. He wrote the proofs that where a person can read a while and go to the Bible and check to make sure that the Baha'i faith is saying what the Bible. I mean, Baha'i faith and the Bible come together. I mean, there's a balance between the two. And if you open-minded read them, you'll see that, hey, this right here is just another step, just one more step.
A lot of it, the first part of the book, deals with the fulfillment of Christian prophecies. and the idea that Baha'u'llah does fulfill the Christian prophecies. And I think that's what your mother was saying. That's really impressed her, is the idea that she's been waiting for the fulfillment of the prophecies, and then all of a sudden, here it is. And it's irrefutable. It's right there in front of you. And it's just not drawn for one or two passages. It's drawn for just passage after passage after passage, entire chapters, entire books, saying, you've been waiting for this. Here it is. What more do you want? And really the same thing is true of all the books. You can go to the Islamic writings, and the Islamic prophecies, and the Islamic traditions. And the Baha'i faith is the only religion that has grown within an Islamic world ever. It is the only religion that has shown significant growth within the Islamic world. Christian missionaries have been going into Muslims for centuries, and there's almost no result. And yet the Baha'i faith has been around about 140 years, and it's already, for example, the second largest religion of Iran. And that's one reason why I think the religious leaders of Iran right now are trying to wipe out the Baha'i faith. It's because they know that if it's left to itself, if it's left to grow, it will in fact take over the hearts and minds of all the people. Joe, it won't take it over. They'll willingly accept it, I think would be a more accurate way to say it. But that's one of the really fascinating things about it. And it doesn't really matter what background you're from. If you're from Christian or Muslim or Jewish or Zoroastrian or Hindu or Buddhist or American Indian or Eskimo, there's something in the religion about the coming of Baha'u'llah.
True. Joel, there's a point that I wish you could make, about the covenant, if you have enough time.
Okay, we've got about 2 minutes. Let's talk about the covenant.
Okay, this is the first time in the history of religion that the prophet man or the manifestation left designated who was to succeed him, where there could be no division among...
In writing.
In writing,
yeah.
And that kept down, kept the Baha'i faith whole and intact.
Right. That's so important, first of all, because the Baha'i teachings and Baha'u'llah's teachings talk about unity. Unity among the entire world. And this is something that is gradually growing and gradually beginning to envelop the world. But it's something that would be entirely impossible if the Baha'is themselves were not united. There are not different divisions of the Baha'i faith. There isn't Catholic and Protestant Baha'is. There's no denominations. There's one Baha'i faith. And no matter where you go in the world, it is the same. Same structure, same administration, same everything, same beliefs, same teachings. That's one thing when you see Baha'is that come from other corners of the world, you say, what is the Baha'i faith like in your country? And they say, it's no different. It's no different. And that's one way, I think, that the Baha'is, with relatively few numbers, can accomplish so much, is because we are united. And when you think about it, even though, I don't really know how many Baha'is there are in the world, there's millions, but you get millions of people together united around one idea, and they can move mountains.
Sure.
They can move,
sure.
They can do incredible things. We got about 30 seconds left. Any parting shots, anything you'd like to say to the people of Carbondale before we sign up?
If you don't do anything in life with this right here, check it out, If it's the truth, it won't stand. And if it's false, it won't stand. For the truth, it will. You owe it to yourself. Really, you owe it to yourself.
Thank you. Our guest today has been Dempsey Crim.
Thank you, Joe.
This is, he's more like a brother than a friend, but I really appreciate you coming on the show. And
it's been my pleasure. It really has.
Baha'i Focus, as I mentioned earlier, is a local production. It's produced here in Carbondale. We just put it together ourselves. It's shown every Tuesday at 5 o'clock on Channel 7, Carbondale Cablevision, and it's also shown every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. So try to catch it. Thank you. The Baha'i Focus this week. Thank you for watching.